Chapter 3 Homesick.
Answer me, girl. Where are you going?
The housekeeper asks Heidi angrily.
Home,
Heidi answers.
But this is your home now. Do you want to leave Clara here alone?
No,
Heidi says.
but I must go to Grandfather. I miss him, Peter, Grandmother, the goats, and the mountains. I can't live without them.
The housekeeper's face is very red now.
You bad child.
She cries.
Go to your room this minute and never leave this house again.
A day or two later, Clara calls Heidi to her room.
My father's back home,
She says happily.
and he wants to speak to the two of us.
Just then, Herr Sesemann comes in. He takes Clara in his arms. After that, he has a nice talk with her and Heidi. Then he smiles and leaves them. He goes to Fräulein Rottenmeier and tells her,
You're wrong about Heidi. She's not a bad child. Clara likes her very much, and Heidi's good for my daughter.
he says.
But
Fräulein Rottenmeier begins.
So don't tell me any more stories about the little Swiss girl. Do you understand?
Herr Sesemann says.
yes, Herr Sesemann.
Fräulein Rottenmeier answers.
Now, I'm leaving again for work in 2 days, but my mother's coming soon. I don't want any problems when she's here.
He says.
No, Herr Sesemann.
The housekeeper says. Grandmama Sesemann loves Heidi when they meet, and she is very good to the little girl. She gives some picture books to her, and with her help, Heidi soon learns to read. Heidi loves reading. With a book in her hands, she forgets that she is homesick. Clara and Heidi are happy when Grandmama Sesemann is staying with them. But after she leaves, Heidi feels more homesick than before. Some days later, strange things begin to happen in the Sesemanns' house. Every morning, the front door is open. Fräulein Rottenmeier tells 2 of the servants,
Perhaps it's a ghost. You must watch the hall tonight and see.
When they later see something white in the dark hall, they run and tell the housekeeper. She writes to Herr Sesemann that night.
Strange things are happening here. Please come home.
Herr Sesemann arrives the next afternoon and speaks to the servants. They tell him about the white thing in the dark. After that, he has a long talk about ghosts with a doctor friend of his, Dr. Klassen. Late that night, they suddenly hear a noise in the hall. What is it? They go and look. There, by the open door, stands Heidi in her white nightdress. She is walking in her sleep.
Heidi!
Herr Sesemann cries.
What are you doing here, my child?
She opens her eyes.
Where am I?
She says.
Leave this to me.
Dr. Klassen tells Herr Sesemann. He takes Heidi to her room and talks to her quietly there.
You aren't happy. What's the problem?
He asks. At first, she tells him nothing. But in the end, she says,
Every night I dream about my mountain home. I hear the wind, and I go to the door of the hut and look out. But in the morning, I'm back in Frankfurt.
She begins to cry.
Don't cry, little Heidi,
says the doctor.
Every problem has an answer.
He goes back to Herr Sesemann.
Heidi's very ill,
He says.
She must leave for Switzerland at once.